Most people ignore Lincoln pennies, but a few rare ones, because of tiny minting errors and hidden historical secrets, have sold for life-changing money. We're talking about coins that look ordinary, but collectors are willing to pay insane prices for them. And today, I'm revealing the top 5 Lincoln pennies that turned everyday people into millionaires. Before you spend your next penny, you need to see this, because the coin you're about to overlook could be the biggest mistake of your life. What if I told you that right now, sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or even your pocket, there could be a simple penny worth not just hundreds, not thousands, but potentially millions of dollars? Sounds impossible, right? But here's the truth. Most people will spend their entire lives ignoring the very coin that could change everything. And today, we're diving into one of the most overlooked treasures in American coin history, the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. Before you dismiss it as just another penny, stay with me, because what you're about to discover could completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's start with something simple. Point 1973. No mint mark. Lincoln penny. At first glance, there's nothing special about it. In fact, millions of these coins were produced in Philadelphia, which traditionally didn't use a mint mark at the time. So naturally, most people assume these coins are common, ordinary, practically worthless, and that assumption, it's exactly why valuable coins slip through people's fingers every single day. Because hidden among those millions are rare variations, minting errors, and ultra-high-grade specimens that collectors are willing to pay life-changing money for. Yes, life-changing. But here's where things get interesting and a little unsettling. What if you already had one and didn't even know it? Imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer. Maybe it belonged to your parents or even your grandparents. You find a handful of coins, nothing unusual. You almost toss them aside. But something stops you. You take a closer look, and there it is. A 1973 penny, no mint mark. At that moment, it still feels ordinary. But what if that one coin is worth more than your car, your house, or even your entire savings? Sounds crazy. Let's break it down. The value of a 1973 no mint mark Lincoln penny depends heavily on 3 critical factors: condition, rarity, and errors. Now, here's where most people make a huge mistake. They think old automatically means valuable. It doesn't. Condition is everything. A worn, circulated 1973 penny might only be worth a few cents, maybe $1 at best. Nothing exciting. But an uncirculated coin, especially one graded MS65, MS66 or higher, can skyrocket in value. We're talking hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare cases, much more. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your coins? Not glanced. Looked. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a 5-figure collectible often comes down to tiny details most people never notice. But wait. This is where things take a dramatic turn. Because the real money isn't just in condition. It's in the errors. And trust me, this is where collectors start paying serious attention. Minting errors are like accidents, but valuable ones. In 1973, a number of pennies were struck with unusual and rare defects. These include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even misaligned designs. Let's talk about the big one: double die errors. This happens when the coin's design is stamped twice, slightly misaligned, creating a visible doubling effect on letters or numbers. To the untrained eye, it might look like a mistake. To a collector, it's a jackpot. Some double die pennies have sold for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on visibility and condition. And here's the kicker: many of these coins are still out there, unnoticed, mixed in with everyday change. Now, let me interrupt for a second. Quick reality check. Have you ever used a penny to scratch something off a lottery ticket? Yeah, most people have. Kind of ironic, isn't it? Using a potentially valuable coin to chase another form of luck. But what if the real jackpot was already in your hand? Back to the story. There are also off-center strikes, coins that weren't properly aligned during minting. Part of the design is missing, shifted to one side. Normally, you'd think that's damage, but in the world of coin collecting, that's rare, and rare equals valuable. Some off-center 1973 pennies have sold for hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on how dramatic the error is. Then there are die cracks, small lines or raised marks caused by damaged dies. Again, most people ignore them, Collectors don't. Now here's where things get even more intense. Because there's another level to this. The perfect coin.I in the coin world. Perfection is graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 67 or higher. That's elite at MS 68. Extremely rare. MS 69 or 70. Almost unheard of for older coins like 1973 pennies. And when one of these near-perfect coins appears at auction, collectors go into a frenzy. Prices can explode. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes pushing towards six figures depending on demand. And yes, in rare, exceptional cases, combined with unique errors or historical significance, coins can reach values that people casually describe as worth millions. But here's the part most people don't realize. Those coins didn't start in museums. They started in circulation. Just like the coins you ignore every single day. So now the question becomes, how do you know if you have one? First, check the date. Second, look for the mint mark. If there's no mint mark below the date, it was minted in Philadelphia. That's your starting point. Then, inspect the coin carefully. Look for unusual doubling in the letters or numbers misaligned or off-center design, strange lines, cracks or marks, exceptional shine or preservation. And here's a tip most beginners miss. Don't clean the coin. Ever. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. Yes, even if you think you're making it look better. To collectors, original condition is everything. Now imagine this scenario. You find a 1973 penny with a noticeable double die, in near-perfect condition. You send it to be graded. Weeks later, the results come back. High grade. Verified error. Authentic. At that moment, everything changes. Suddenly, that coin isn't just a coin. It's an asset, the negotiation and opportunity. And here's where urgency comes in, because the market for rare coins isn't static. It moves. Prices rise. Demand shifts. New collectors enter the market every year, and they're willing to pay more for rare finds. Which means the longer you wait, the more you risk missing the right moment. Or worse, selling something valuable for far less than it's worth. Let's pause for a second. Think about how many pennies you've handled in your lifetime. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands? And how many did you actually examine? Exactly. That's the difference between people who stay average and those who spot opportunity where others see nothing. Now, as we move toward the final part of the story, there's something important you need to understand. Not every 1973 penny is valuable, but the right one can be extraordinary. And the only way to know is to look carefully, consistently, with intention. Because hidden value doesn't announce itself. It waits for someone curious enough, patient enough, and smart enough to recognize it. So here's your challenge. Tonight or tomorrow, take 5 minutes. Grab a handful of coins. Look for that 1973 penny NO mint mark. Study it. Really study it. Because one small detail, one tiny imperfection, could be the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing discovery. And remember this, wealth doesn't always come from big risks or complex investments. Sometimes, it comes from noticing what everyone else ignores. So, before you spend another penny, ask yourself one simple question. What if this is the one? Because one day, for someone, it will be. And the only question is, will it be you? What if I told you that a simple penny, yes, a single 1-cent coin you might have ignored or even dropped on the sidewalk, could quietly be worth a life-changing amount of money? Not a few $100s, not even a few thousand, but potentially hundreds of thousands or more, if you know exactly what to look for. Now here's the twist. The coin we're talking about isn't some ancient relic locked away in a museum. It's modern, familiar, ordinary at first glance. The 1991 Lincoln 1 cent, with no mint mark. Sounds impossible, right? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this seemingly common penny has collectors on high alert, how rare variations can skyrocket in value, and most importantly, how to check if you might already have one hiding in your home. And trust me, you're going to want to check. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure payday comes down to a few tiny details most people miss. Let's start with the basics. The 1991 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now normally that's nothing special. In fact, millions, actually billions, of these coins were produced. So why all the hype? Here's where things get interesting. Within these massive production runs, tiny minting errors and subtle variations can occur. And when they do, they create coins that collectors will chase aggressively. Coins that stand out from the billions and become incredibly rare. Think of it like this. Imagine printing millions of identical lottery tickets, but a few come out with a tiny misprint. Most people would throw them away. Collectors, they hunt them, because those mistakes are where the money is. Now here's the part most people don't realize. Not all 1991 no-mint mark pennies are valuable. In fact, the vast majority are still worth just 1 cent, but hidden among them are rare error coins that can command serious prices. And I mean serious. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even transitional errors that can push values into the thousands, and in extreme cases, far beyond. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Exactly. Most people don't. And that's why opportunities like this still exist. Let's dig deeper into the most valuable types you should be looking for. First, the double die error. This happens when the coin's design is accidentally stamped more than once at slightly different angles. The result? A visible doubling effect on letters or numbers. Now here's the key detail. This isn't random damage. It's a minting error. And collectors can spot the difference instantly. On a 1991 penny, you'll want to examine the words, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date itself. If you see clear doubling, sharp, defined, not blurry, you could be looking at something very special. Some double die pennies have sold for thousands of dollars depending on condition. Thousands for a coin people walk past every day. Now let's talk about off-center strikes. This is where the coin isn't properly aligned during minting, causing part of the design to be missing while the rest is shifted. And here's the surprising part. The more dramatic the error, without losing the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors love visual impact. A coin that looks obviously wrong attracts attention, and attention drives value. A well-preserved off-center 1991 penny can easily sell for hundreds, sometimes thousands. Not bad for something that started as pocket change. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Broad strike errors. These occur when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand beyond its normal size. The result? A slightly larger, flatter coin with a distinctive look. Again, most people would never notice. But collectors, they're willing to pay for it. Now here's where things start to feel almost unbelievable. There are rare cases, extremely rare, where transitional errors or unusual compositions can appear. While the 1991 penny was primarily made of zinc with a copper coating, anomalies in the minting process can create coins with unexpected characteristics. And when that happens, values can skyrocket. We're talking about coins that enter auction houses, attract competitive bidding, and sell for staggering amounts. This is where the dream lives. This is where a simple coin becomes a story, and that story becomes valuable. But let me stop you right here with an important reality check. Because this is where many people get it wrong. Not every unusual-looking coin is valuable. In fact, damage from circulation, scratches, dents, corrosion can sometimes mimic the appearance of errors. And here's the honest truth: collectors don't pay for damage. They pay for verified mint errors. That's why authentication is everything. If you believe you've found something rare, the next step isn't selling it immediately. It's getting it evaluated by a professional grading service. Because the difference between interesting and valuable often comes down to expert confirmation. Now imagine this scenario. You're going through an old jar of coins. Maybe something you inherited, or just loose change sitting in a drawer. You pick up a penny. At first, it looks normal. But then you notice something slightly off. A shift in the design. A doubling in the letters. Something that doesn't quite match the others. Your heart rate picks up just a little. Could this be one of them? This is the moment. The moment where curiosity turns into possibility, and possibility turns into action. Let's talk about value. Because I know that's what you're really here for. In average circulated condition, a standard 1991 no-mint mark penny is worth exactly what you'd expect. 1 cent, but introduce a significant error, and everything changes. Minor errors? You could be looking at $50 to $200. More noticeable errors like off-center strikes or strong doubling. $500 to $2,000, sometimes more. High-grade, rare error combinations, $5,000, $10,000, even higher depending on demand and uniqueness. And in the rarest cases, where multiple factors align, auction results can climb into extraordinary territory. Now let me ask you something again. If there's even a small chance that a coin in your possession could be worth that kind of money, wouldn't it be worth checking? Here's something most people never think about. Coins are one of the few everyday objects where value can hide in plain sight. You don't need a treasure map. You don't need special access. You just need awareness. Because while others ignore, you observe. While others spend, you inspect. And that simple shift in behavior can change everything. Now, quick question. Be honest. How many pennies do you think you've handled in your lifetime? Thousands? Tens of thousands? And how many did you actually examine closely? Exactly, that's the opportunity gap. And today, you just closed it. But don't stop here. Because knowledge without action is just entertainment. And this isn't about entertainment. This is about potential. So here's what I want you to do right after this video ends. Go find your coins. Check your drawers, your jars, your old collections. Look specifically for 1991 pennies without a mint mark. Examine them under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Focus on the details we talked about: doubling, alignment, shape, and if something stands out, don't ignore it. That could be the moment everything changes. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with one final thought. Opportunities like this don't announce themselves. They don't come with flashing signs or guarantees. They show up quietly, disguised as ordinary things, like a penny, and the people who benefit from them, they're not necessarily the smartest. They're the most observant. So the next time you see a coin lying on the ground or sitting in your pocket, don't overlook it, because hidden within that small piece of metal could be a story worth thousands. Maybe more, and maybe, just maybe, your story is already waiting to be discovered. Now go check your pennies. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, could be worth not just thousands, not just hundreds of thousands, but potentially millions of dollars? And here's the unsettling part. It might already be sitting in your pocket, your drawer, or that dusty jar you haven't opened in years. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious, overlooked, and shockingly valuable world of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. A coin millions of Americans have handled, but almost nobody truly understands. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's start with a simple truth. In 1978, billions of pennies were minted in the United States. The vast majority of them, practically worthless, just 1 cent. But hidden among those billions are rare variations, minting anomalies, and condition-perfect specimens that collectors are willing to pay life-changing money for. And here's where things get interesting. If your 1978 penny has no mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, normally, that doesn't make it rare. In fact, Philadelphia produced a massive number of these coins. So why are some of these pennies selling for thousands? And in extreme, almost unbelievable cases, being valued at hundreds of thousands or even speculated into the million-dollar range? The answer lies in 3 powerful factors: condition, rarity within rarity, and errors. Let's talk about condition first, because this is where most people make a costly mistake. Picture 2 identical 1978 pennies. Point 1 has been circulating for decades. Scratches, dull color, worn edges. The other, it looks like it just came out of the mint yesterday. Bright, flawless, untouched. That second coin is what collectors call mint state. Now here's the shocking part: a 1978 no mint mark penny graded at the highest levels, like MS-67 or above, can sell for thousands of dollars. Why? Because almost none have survived in that perfect condition. Think about it. Pennies are the most abused coins in circulation. They get tossed, dropped, scratched, ignored. Finding one in near-perfect condition after decades? That's like finding a diamond in a pile of sand. And if you happen to have one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a highly competitive asset in the collector's market. But wait, this is where the story takes a sharp turn. Because condition alone isn't what pushes values into the realm of millions. Errors do. And not just any errors, rare, dramatic, undeniable minting mistakes. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked closely at your penny? I mean really closely. Because some of the most valuable 1978 pennies have subtle, but incredibly important errors. We're talking about double dies, where the lettering appears slightly duplicated. Off-center strikes, where the design isn't properly aligned. Or even wrong planchet errors, where the coin was struck on the wrong metal. And here's the twist. Most people miss these details completely. They spend them without a second thought. Imagine accidentally using a coin worth thousands of dollars to buy a piece of gum. Painful, right? Now here's where things get even more intense. Some collectors and experts believe that undiscovered ultra-rare variations of common coins, including the 1978 penny, are still out there. Coins that haven't been graded yet. Coins sitting in private collections or forgotten storage boxes. Coins that, if discovered in perfect condition with a unique error, could spark bidding wars. And in the world of high-end coin collecting, bidding wars don't just raise prices. They explode them. That's how ordinary coins become extraordinary assets. Let's shift gears for a moment. Because if you're watching this, you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these valuable coins? Great question. Start with the basics. Check the date. 1978. Look for the absence of a mint mark, just under the date. If there's no D or S, you've got a Philadelphia coin. Next, condition. Does it shine? Does it look almost untouched? Are the details crisp? If yes, don't clean it. Don't polish it. In fact, do nothing to it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value instantly. Yes, you heard that right. Trying to improve it could cost you thousands. Now lean in, because this part is critical. If you think your coin might be valuable, you need to get it professionally graded. Organizations like PCGS or NGC specialize in evaluating coins and assigning them official grades. This process not only verifies authenticity, it dramatically increases buyer confidence. And in a market driven by trust, that's everything. But here's the emotional reality most people don't talk about. Every single day, valuable coins are lost, thrown into circulation, sold for pennies, forgotten in drawers, because people simply don't know what they have. And that's exactly why you're here. You're not like most people. You're paying attention. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where things get exciting. A typical 1978 penny, worth 1 cent, a well-preserved, uncirculated version, maybe a few dollars, even up to $50 or $100 depending on quality. But a near-perfect MS-67 or higher, those can reach into the thousands. And if you combine that condition with a rare error, that's when values can skyrocket into 5 figures, 6 figures, and in extremely rare, hypothetical cases driven by collector demand and uniqueness, even approach the million-dollar conversation. Not because every 1978 penny is worth that, but because the right coin in the right condition at the right moment can break every expectation. Let me ask you one more question. What's sitting in your home right now? A jar of coins? An old collection? A box you haven't opened in years? Because hidden in those ordinary places could be something extraordinary, and the difference between someone who finds it and someone who spends it is awareness. Here's your challenge. Today, don't scroll past this and forget it. Go check. Open that drawer. Look through your coins. Examine every 1978 penny you can find. Because the truth is, you don't need to be a professional collector to make a life-changing discovery. You just need to look closer than everyone else. And remember this. We're living in a time where people are searching for financial freedom in complicated places. Stocks, crypto, risky investments. But sometimes, opportunity is already in your hands. Quiet, overlooked, waiting. Just like a single penny. So the next time you see one, don't ignore it. Because it might not just be 1 cent. It might be your first step towards something much bigger. And in the next video, we're going to reveal another coin that could be hiding in plain sight, and this one has shocked collectors worldwide. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. What if I told you that a simple penny, yes, a coin most people toss into jars, leave in cup holders, or ignore on the sidewalk, could be quietly sitting in your home, worth not just thousands, not even hundreds of thousands, but potentially millions of dollars. Sounds impossible, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might look at your spare change very differently. Today, We're diving into one of the most overlooked modern coins in American history, the 1998 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. A coin so common on the surface, yet hiding secrets that have stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and changed lives overnight. And here's the real question. What if you already have one? Let's begin. Picture this. It's a normal day. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe a dusty jar of coins that's been sitting there for years. You almost throw it away, but something stops you. A small voice says, "Take a closer look." You pick up a penny.no mint mark. Nothing unusual. At least that's what most people think. But here's where things get interesting. In the world of coin collecting, what looks ordinary is often anything but. And the 1998 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of that hidden value, because while billions were made, only a tiny fraction carry the rare characteristics that can skyrocket their worth. Now, before you dismiss this as another internet myth, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of a coin selling for over $1 million? Because it has happened, and not just once. Let's break this down. The 1998 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia. That's normal. Philadelphia coins often don't carry a mint mark. So at first glance, there's nothing special. But here's the twist. In 1998, something subtle but incredibly important changed in the design of the Lincoln penny. The U.S. Mint introduced what collectors call the wide AM reverse design. Now, if you're thinking, wide AM? That sounds technical. Don't worry. I'll explain it in the simplest way possible. Look at the word America on the back of the coin. On most 1998 pennies, the letters A and M are very close together, almost touching. That's the standard design. But on rare error coins, those letters are spaced farther apart. That's the wide AM. And that tiny detail can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. Now here's where things get serious. Most people never notice this detail. They spend these coins every single day without a second thought. Imagine unknowingly handing over a coin worth thousands, maybe even more, just to pay for a cup of coffee. Painful, right? But it happens every single day. And that's why this video matters. Because awareness is everything. Let's talk value. A standard 1998 penny? It's worth exactly what you think. 1 cent, but a 1998 wide AM penny in excellent condition. We're talking hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on grade. Now here's the part that gets collectors excited. In near perfect or mint state condition, some of these rare variations have sold for jaw-dropping amounts. While not every 1998 penny will reach 7 figures, the potential exists in the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand. And remember, coin markets evolve. What sells for thousands today could sell for significantly more tomorrow. That's how million-dollar coins are born. But wait, it gets even better. Because the wide AM isn't the only thing you should be looking for. Let me ask you something. What if your penny also had a minting error? We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Tiny imperfections that turn ordinary coins into collector gold. These errors are like fingerprints. No two are exactly the same. And collectors, they love uniqueness. The rarer the error, the higher the price. It's simple supply and demand. Now, let's pause for a second. Be honest. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny closely? Not just glanced, but really examined it. Most people never do. And that's exactly why opportunities like this exist. Because value hides in plain sight. Let's move into Act 2, the turning point. This is where curiosity becomes action. Because now you know what to look for. But knowledge alone doesn't change your life. Action does. Step 1. Start checking your coins. Yes, it's that simple. Grab a magnifying glass or use your phone camera. Look at every 1998 penny you can find. Focus on the spacing in America. Is it wide? Is it unusual? Does something feel off? Trust your instincts. Because sometimes, the difference between a worthless coin and a valuable one is just a fraction of a millimeter. Step 2. Condition matters. A scratched, worn-out coin will never command the same price as one in pristine condition. Collectors pay for quality. Think of it like this. Would you pay luxury prices for something damaged? Exactly. So if you find a potential wide AM penny, handle it carefully. Store it properly. Protect it like it matters, because it might. Step 3. Get it verified. This is critical. Professional grading services can authenticate your coin and assign it a grade. That grade can dramatically impact its value. Without verification, buyers hesitate. With it, doors open. Auctions. Collectors. Serious money. Now, here comes the emotional reality check. Most people watching this video will do nothing that they'll think, that's interesting, and move on. They'll forget, ignore, delay, and miss out. Don't be that person. Because the truth is, opportunities like this don't announce themselves loudly, they whisper, and only those who pay attention hear them. Let's move into Act 3, the payoff. Imagine this. A few weeks from now, you're sitting at your table, examining a small pile of coins. You find one no mint mark. You check the AM. Your heart starts racing. It's wide. You double check, then triple check. It's real. Now what? You send it for grading. You wait. Days feel like weeks. Weeks feel like months. Then the email arrives. Certified. High grade. Rare. Valuable. What happens next could change everything. Collectors start showing interest. Offers come in. You list it at auction. Bidding begins. It climbs higher, and suddenly that one penny, the one you almost ignored, is worth more than you ever imagined. Now let me ask you one final question. How many pennies have you overlooked in your life? Hundreds? Thousands? What if just one of them was the one? This isn't just about coins. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing hidden value where others see nothing. It's about taking a closer look when everyone else walks away. And yes, not every 1998 penny will make you a millionaire. Let's be real. But that's not the point. The point is this: you don't need every coin to be valuable. You just need one. So tonight, don't scroll past this. Don't forget. Go check your coins. Open that jar. Look inside that drawer. Because somewhere, quietly waiting, could be a small piece of copper with a very big secret. And if you do find something unusual, come back and tell me, because your story might be the next one that inspires millions. And who knows, the next $1 million penny story might be yours. But here's the truth. Some of the most valuable coins in American history were once completely ignored. Ordinary people spent them, dropped them, or tossed them aside, never realizing they were holding a life-changing fortune. And today, we're diving deep into one of the most overlooked coins of all time, the 1994 Lincoln 1-cent penny, with no mint mark. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might never look at your spare change the same way again. Let's begin with something simple, but powerful. The year 1994 doesn't sound special. No famous coin redesign. No widely known rarity. Just another year, another penny. But that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because hidden within ordinary coins are extraordinary mistakes. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes equal money. Sometimes, serious money. Now, here's where things get interesting. A 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. That alone doesn't make it rare. In fact, millions were produced. So why are collectors suddenly paying attention? Because not all 1994 pennies are the same. And the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $1 million discovery comes down to tiny details most people never notice. Picture this. You're sorting through old coins at your kitchen table. Maybe you're bored. Maybe you're just curious. And suddenly, one penny looks slightly different. The lettering feels off. The shine looks unusual. Or maybe there's a strange doubling effect in the words. At first, you ignore it. After all, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. That tiny difference could be everything. Let's talk about the real reason certain 1994 no-mint mark pennies have shocked collectors. Errors. Minting errors are like hidden jackpots in the coin world. They happen when something goes wrong during production, misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center impressions, or incorrect metal compositions. And when those errors slip past quality control, they become rare and extremely valuable. Now imagine this. A 1994 penny with a dramatic double die error, where the text appears slightly duplicated, almost like a shadow. To the average person, it might look like damage. But to a trained collector, that's gold. Coins with strong double die features can command thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition. But wait, it gets even crazier. There are whispers in the collecting community of extremely rare transitional errors. These are coins struck using the wrong planchet, the metal blank used for minting in certain rare cases. Pennies have been discovered on planchets meant for other coins. And when that happens, the value doesn't just increase, it explodes. We're talking six figures, sometimes more. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked your pennies closely? Not just glanced at them, but really looked. Because most people don't. And that's exactly why opportunities like this still exist. Let's shift gears for a moment. Condition. This is where many people unknowingly lose thousands of dollars. That a 1994 no-mint mark penny in average circulated condition might only be worth face value, maybe a few cents more. But in pristine, uncirculated condition, what collectors call mint state, everything changes. A coin graded MS67 or higher can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And here's the kicker. Most people damage their coins without realizing it. They clean them, they scratch them, they store them improperly, and just like that, they destroy the value. So if you think you found something special, don't clean it, don't polish it, don't even wipe it. Leave it exactly as it is, because originality is everything. Now here comes the part that might surprise you. Some of the highest coin sales in history didn't come from ancient treasures or royal collections. They came from everyday people. People just like you. Someone cleaning out a garage. Someone inheriting a box of coins. Someone who almost threw everything away until they took a closer look. And that's the difference. Awareness. Let me break it down for you clearly. If you find a 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, here's what you should check immediately. Look at the date and lettering for doubling. Check for unusual weight or thickness. Examine the edges. Are they clean or irregular? Look for off-center strikes or strange impressions. And most importantly, look at the condition. If something feels off, trust that instinct. Because in this game, your eyes are your greatest asset. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but are these really worth millions? Let's be honest. Not every 1994 penny is going to make you a millionaire. But here's the truth that most people don't tell you. It only takes 1.1 rare error, 0.1 overlooked coin, 0.1 discovery to completely change your financial future. And yes, there have been coins, even modern ones, that have sold for staggering amounts due to unique errors and pristine condition. So while a standard 1994 penny won't buy you a mansion, the right one might just get you closer than you think. Here's a quick reality check with a twist. That if I handed you $1 million coin right now, would you even recognize it? Or would you spend it on coffee? Be honest. Because that's exactly what has happened before. People have unknowingly spent rare coins worth thousands, even tens of thousands, simply because they didn't know what to look for. Don't let that be you. Now let's build a little urgency here. Every day, rare coins are being discovered. Every day, they're being sold. And every day, some are being lost forever, thrown away, damaged, ignored. The longer you wait, the higher the chance you might miss your opportunity. So the question isn't, are these coins valuable? The real question is, are you paying attention? Let's bring this together. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but hidden within ordinary things are extraordinary possibilities. And in a world where financial opportunities are getting harder to find, sometimes the answer isn't in stocks or real estate. Sometimes it's in your pocket. Before we wrap up, here's something powerful to remember. Wealth doesn't always come from chasing something new. Sometimes it comes from recognizing the value of what you already have. So tonight or tomorrow morning, take 5 minutes, open that drawer, check that jar, look through your old coins, because who knows, the next penny you pick up might not just be a penny. It might be a turning point. And here's the cliffhanger I want to leave you with. There are still undiscovered rare pennies out there. Right now. Not in museums, not in vaults, but in everyday homes, just waiting to be found. The only question is, will you be the one who finds it? Or the one who almost did? Stay curious, stay alert, and never underestimate the smallest things. Because sometimes they carry the biggest value.